So like most woodworkers, I save every bit of scrap I have. Unfortunately, that habit has left me with some 55 pounds of 2x4 cutoffs that seem to have reached the end of their usefulness. The challenge I've set for myself is to take what is essentially ugly and unwanted and transform it into something that's both practical and beautiful. For today's project, I'll be working with pine boards that are all flat sawn, meaning the growth rings run parallel to their face. My goal is to convert these boards into quarter sawn panels. So to achieve this, I'll slice up the boards. I'll rotate them 90 degrees and then glue them back together to form up that final panel. So I'll begin at the bandsaw. These boards are in rough shape. They're twisted, slightly warped, so ripping them here at the bandsaw instead of the table saw is simply the safer option. Doing this at the table saw could lead to kickback, whereas the bandsaw eliminates that risk. I think we've all had experience of trying to buy straight 2x4s at the store, and maybe we got lucky and actually found a few, only to have them twist and cup once we got them home. Now, many people assume softwoods are simply less suitable for furniture making, and their experience with them warping is a large factor in this. However, I'm not worried about these boards warping again once they've been properly flattened. The real issue with warping isn't the species of the wood, it's that they're simply sold too wet for our uses in furniture making. But letting them dry out and milling them up will alleviate that issue. So the milling process starts with a joiner flattening one face, then rotating the board to square an edge. A thickness planer ensures the opposite face is parallel to the jointed one, and a table saw trims the board to width, making the second edge parallel to the first and square to both faces. Finally, again at the table saw, the board is cut to length, ensuring square ends. While I'm milling these, I want to take a slight detour to discuss why softwood seems to warp so much. 2x4s and other dimensional lumber is optimized for the construction industry. That includes how much the boards are dried. Furniture level dryness simply isn't necessary. If you've ever built furniture from 2x4s and then watched that tabletop warp, the problem wasn't that you used pine or fir. It was that the wood was simply too wet and dried out after assembly. For the construction industry, a warped 2x4 hidden in a wall won't affect the structural integrity of the building. But for furniture making, improper dryness can lead to serious movement issues that can be seen in the final piece. Fortunately for me, these boards have been sitting around for a long time, meaning that they should be well acclimated to the shop environment and plenty dry to build with. However, to hedge my bets, I'll mill everything oversized and let those panels acclimate again before bringing them to final dimensions. This gives the wood time to release any freshly uncovered moisture, and then once it's reached its final size and is joined together, that joinery will help maintain stability in the long run. On top of all that, softwoods are incredibly stable, with low rates of seasonal expansion and contraction once at EMC. And now it's almost time for the glue up. I want to take an extra step here and try to make sure that I have the grain of the wood running in the same direction for each of these pieces. The final finish that I want to do on this project can only be achieved through hand planing. Taking the time now to align that grain will save me time in the future, as it greatly reduces the risk of the grain tearing out in later steps. So to do this, I'll look over all the pieces and orient them in a way that I feel that they look the best. Then I'll take a few shavings with a plane to verify I have the grain direction correct. This plane isn't overly sharp. If I'm wrong, the blade will catch in the grain, letting me know I got it wrong. But if it glides smoothly over the board, then I have it right. And once everything is situated, I can glue those boards together. When they have dried and are removed from the clamps, I'll wait, giving that panel time to reacclimate. To take these panels to final thickness, I'm going to start with a roughing plane. Certainly, I could do this back over at the jointer, but these panels are wider than the joiner's bed. I could have made smaller panels that fit on the joiner and then done a 2-stage glue up, but this is my preferred method of working. Even though I'm using a hand plane, I find this step goes rather quickly. For roughing planes, there have been several that have fulfilled this role over the years. 4-planes, scrub planes, jack planes, to name a few. The one thing that they have in common is that they have a cambered blade that removes material fast and efficiently. Now the goal here isn't perfect smoothness. The surface just needs to be flat in the aggregate. I'll work to remove the high spots and get everything into the same plane. I can use a straight edge and winding sticks to check for flatness as I go, and I can also set the board on my workbench, and if it doesn't rock, then it's flat enough. At this point, I'll run the board back through the thickness planer. That will create a parallel surface to the one that was just rough planed by hand. I could flip this board over and send it back through the thickness planer to clean up the hand plane marks, but instead, I'll take a page from the traditional hand tool woodworking book and only work the surfaces as much as they're needed. Ultimately, you're only ever going to see one side of this board in the finished piece, so I'll save myself the noise and some dust to clean up and leave the hand plane surface untouched without further refinement, because it's perfect the way it is. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to follow along as this project evolves. There's plenty more to do as I work towards making something useful out of this mountain of scrap.